most of the times, specifically when they are, at our age group that we don't fit into our immediate peer circle. We don't fit into a lot of roles, definitions society has around us. And so we decided, let's own it. Let's build the company around this value of not trying to fit in. And hence we adapted to the fact that we are going to stay weird however we are. We are going to be exactly those people, build a company with, exactly those values.
Hello viewers, this is Krishnendu. I am your host today, and today with us Ms. Sudesna Mukhopadhyay. She is the founder and CEO of TechWado. She is a woman entrepreneur. So let's welcome her. Hi Ms. Sudesna, how are you?
Hello, Krishnendu. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I am very good. So can you please tell me something about your company TechWado?
Sure. So TechVero is a data analytics and AI as a service company. We started off our journey in 2019. We have been working with mid to large scale corporations, and we primarily work in full suite products. So developing applications end to end and AI enabling. So we build machine learning, custom machine learning models for companies, which enhances their performance and operations by up to 100x depending on which area they're focusing on. We have worked with clients like PwC, Birla Group, Merino Group, Infocus, amongst many others. So currently, during the COVID-19 pandemic, TechWeirdo had started building its own products. And we have ventured into the global market currently with a JV with the Merino Group, the larger Merino Group. The application is called Merino 1.health, and it's an IoT and AI driven product. And it is running in India, US, and Europe currently. So that's more or less about it.
Okay. So I checked your LinkedIn. So there I found that you previously work in Cognizant and after that you start this company. So why suddenly you switch from job to business? What motivated you to open your own business?
Okay. First of all, it's not sudden as in terms of journey at all.
Mhm.
So while I was doing my computer science engineering from WBUT, I started, connecting with my peers. They happened to be in one was in IIT Kharagpur and another was in Xavier's. And we decided that, so this is still in college, this is the year of 2013, and we decided that we are going to open a college community
Mhm.
and create local experiences for different cities. So it
Mhm.
so happened that in 2013, we ended up creating this festival called Kolkata Gourmet Festival. So at
Mhm.
that point in time, gourmet was still, new to the city of food. Kolkata is foodie city,
Mhm.
but people were not exploring gourmet as a subject in food. And we did this event, and we had participations from top five stars and restaurants, including Wow Momo. They were just like starting off at that point of time. So and while doing that, that was not something I did as an entrepreneur. I was not even aware of the term at that point of time. I was just exploring. But then I happened to belong to a very humble Bengali family, and
Mhm.
Bengali families are, not very open to business, or specifically their, the child,
Mhm.
setting up a business. So it's a very common traditional thought process that, families have in Bengal.
Mhm.
And it so happened, just to, kind of balance everything out, I did not take up my campus job that I got in IBM.
Mhm.
And I instead realized that I was an introvert. I still am an introvert, but then
Mhm.
it's very difficult. It was very difficult for me to, kind of break the ice, make new conversations. And I realized that if I have to venture out on my own,
Mhm.
I need to master that skill.
Mhm.
And uh, just right after college, I got this idea that how can I master that skill? So somebody gave me an idea that you should try a sales profile. So I dropped out of IBM, the first job that I got, and I joined this real estate company to work in sales. But when I started working in a company and in an environment, although I had a lot to learn, even after that, I worked as an engineering intern with the Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, which also happens to be a subsidiary of Bhabha Atomic Research Center, and then I moved to Cognizant. So, in my entire journey of working in a job, time and again, I realized that I had a lot of enthusiasm about doing things. I wanted to make things by myself. I would rather identify myself as a maker, right? So imagining a thought and kind of making this entire plan and executing it. So that is something I really identify with, and that has led to this journey of shifting from this job to opening up my own venture. So that was the core motivation. So that's about it.
So why TechWadu, not any other venture? What is the story behind this TechWadu? And is there any meaning of this name, the brand name?
Yeah, of course. So actually, this is my second venture. The first venture that I started right after quitting my job did not work out, and so definitely also another point was that I had kind of convinced my parents to give me a 1 year breather, right? So the deal I cut with them was, you either give me 1 year and I monetize the idea I'm talking about, or I'll go back to the cubicles. But so this was 2018, the year of 2018. I quit my job in January 2018. So by September 2018, the first idea was not working out. It was very evident. And I had like 2 months to, kind of pivot and do something to monetize my work so that I could retain this entire passion of running my own business. And I happened to meet my co-founder, Gaurav. We are co-founders in TechWeirdo. And we were, so he also had a venture which was not working on, and we kind of decided that, to focus on our core strength. So my core strength was products. His core strength was application development. Together we thought that instead of just kind of fixating on building a product, let's start working on services. So we started, from a very, very small 1 BHK apartment. And it so happened that, so when we were discussing, what should we name the brand? And we got our first clients when we still did not have a proper structure or a name or whatever. So and then we were discussing that how uh, very often we both realize that we are very individualistic people, right? So it and this concept of fitting in, right? Always trying to fit in into places with people. This lot of people go through this, dilemma of not being able to retain their individuality, right? It's very difficult to wear who you are on your sleeves. And it so happens that a lot of people who are in tech and who kind of start their own business, most of the times, specifically when they are, at our age group that we are, we don't fit in into our immediate peer circle. We don't fit into a lot of roles, definitions society has around us. And so we decided, let's own it. Let's build the company around this value of not trying to fit in. And hence we adapted to the fact that we are going to stay weird however we are. We are going to be exactly those people, build a company with exactly those values. And that's how TechWeirdo is born. So even today, when we kind of sometimes revisit why we started this, how we are going to move forward, we always own the fact that this is who we are. This is the culture of TechWeirdo. It's a very open, amiable environment people work in, and we really value creativity. So because if there is no openness, if people are not being able to be themselves, it's really a great barrier for creativity. And if there is no creativity, there is no innovation. So this entire is about being who you are, staying weird, because being normal is too mainstream.
Okay. So what are the main USP of TechWeirdo?
So TechWeirdo is currently very much focused on last mile delivery of artificial intelligence. This is a very logistics-ish term, but what we kind of realize is that AI is like that elephant in the room that everybody is currently aware of, but it's very expensive to implement when I'm thinking of a business at scale, right? So agility is the problem. Shifting the current process to a new one is a problem, and definitely cost. So a lot of businesses are aware of the benefits automation can bring into their process, but the challenges to make it happen is huge, right? So we have started working on this particular segment where we are calling it no code AI, right? So you might be aware of these platforms like Wix, right? So they are basically what you see is what you get. You drag and drop and you have a website ready. So we envision AI implementation to be that simple, that I can just drag and drop a piece of visual pieces that I see in front of me, and I can have my system upgrade to an automated system. So, but the challenge to, that's like a moonshot project for us. You might be aware, not many people are working on this globally. The ones who are working on this globally focus on, kind of helping internal teams take their model to production faster, right? So no code AI has been accepted and adapted in the area of IT companies or within companies who are working on building their own models and automating their own processes. But what we are trying to, build is basically for commercial, specifically in the case of India, for SMEs, to make it really, really easy for them to implement AI solutions without worrying about the cost, the robustness, and the effectiveness of the solution.
Okay.
So that is one part. Second part is working in India has its own set of challenges and problems. And one major problem area is finding the right talent. So this has been a very niche field. This is not something which is an usual part of our engineering programs or graduate programs that we are a part of. So there is a huge gap in the learning and development area also that needs to be solved if we are to grow as a company. So we have recently collaborated with Goethe Institute, which happens to be the cultural wing of German Consulate, and we are delivering workshops to schools under the brand name Flurgo, where we are helping them understand and learn the basic concepts of Python, machine learning, and how to build an AI system. And we believe that if we start at this point where our ecosystem, the people around us are so aware of what AI is doing to their lives and how the world around them is changing because of AI. So if we are able to provide our industry knowledge, because we are a service company at the core, and if we can take this industry knowledge and help people kind of understand the concepts and build their careers up, then 10 years down the line, 5 years to 10 years down the line, we will have more and more talent pool that will come up from India working in this field, because very soon there will not be many jobs which are outsourced because of its redundancy. There is a lot of automation which is going to hit each and every industry. So technology today is completely sector agnostic. So once this starts happening, there will be a surge of demand in terms of talent. So if a lot of companies don't come into this sector and work towards building this talent pool, we will either see a lot of people going out of jobs, or this massive crunch of getting quality people to build companies will remain. So we are also focusing on this aspect of creating a whole ecosystem, and we are doing this only for women. That's another story. So I'll save it up for the rest.
Okay. Sure. So what is the current team size of Taekwondo?
So we are currently a team of 15 people, apart from the two founders.
Okay. Okay. So means previous venture you was that time your previous venture failed and you start Taekwondo. So when you start Taekwondo, did you ever demotivate? Means no, it's not working well. Again, I need to work on this job or this kind of, because in a Bengali mentality, our family have pressure. Means I am also belong from a Bengali mentality. So this is the thing. Means our family think go we is our family not think business is not a good way. Service mentality. Yeah. So did you ever demotivate?
See, I guess there's a very famous phrase around it. If you want to please people, go sell ice creams. Don't run a company. So I guess with this, kind of moving forward, I do realize, and I think it's true for most of the entrepreneurs out there, that we have to reach a certain amount of balance. So balance is the key of everything, right? Everything that we do. So even in terms of people in our lives, be it families, be it peers, be it anybody, there is a sense of balance that kind of kicks in, and which helps you leverage your strengths, your current reality, and where you want to be. So you're constantly doing this, and this is not a one-off process. It's a journey. It's a part of your journey, right? As you
Mhm.
grow, things around you change, and you adapt to this change, and you adapt well because you have to sustain a business. And what you asked about demotivation, I would rather call it an existential crisis. I
Mhm.
think every entrepreneur, no matter if they're a billion-dollar company or just starting their journey, every entrepreneur faces this existential crisis almost very frequently.
Mhm.
And I think each and every one of us has our own way of looking at it. I wouldn't call it demotivations, but yes, definitely. We plan something, it doesn't work out. It's really a setback. But how we handle setbacks and how we respond to it
Mhm.
is, something we learn over time and we improve. So
Mhm.
it's a part of the process, a part of the journey. I'm sure it's there today, it's going to be there tomorrow. Even if you do something, I want to do something else tomorrow, I want to grow further. So it's
Mhm.
going to be a part of this process.
So during this COVID time, COVID period, many businesses are affected. So is your business also affected due to this COVID?
See, we did not see the pandemic coming, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
None of us anticipated that we are going to face a massive lockdown. 1.2 billion people under lockdown, economies
Mhm.
being stalled. So definitely the effect was there. And at the end of 2019, we were going out very aggressively, spending a lot of money and resources in reaching out to the right people. And we are a bootstrap company.
Mhm.
So when I was this was March 2020, and I was traveling back from Delhi to Kolkata, and it was still, this is just a day before Janta curfew, right?
Okay.
And just hit me. I had never seen an airport so empty, and
Mhm.
it was, it when I entered the airport to board my morning flight, and I was, I kind of when I was getting in Kolkata, and I just realized that something bad is happening. You realize this firsthand.
Mhm.
And then within 2 days, the Janta curfew started.
Mhm.
Everything was stalled. We were suddenly working remotely, and there was a lot of existing work going on. We were
Mhm.
planning on new projects. So that was the primary reason for all these, activities that we were doing in terms of reaching out to the market. And
Mhm.
then when we were expecting a great boom in business in 2020 financial year starting, it just stopped.
Okay.
So all the effort and money that we kind of invested
Mhm.
in making the financial year 2020 a rock solid year for the business, it
Mhm.
just hit us on our face that okay, now things are going to be shelved, projects were shelved, people were not able to pay their dues. So there were a lot many problems that started happening like one after the other.
Mhm.
And yes, I think but the one thing I would like to mention, I don't know if I should call it the good part, but it's still the right thing about this was that all of us, each and every one of us, was in this problem. We are still in,
Mhm.
we are still reeling under its effects.
Mhm.
And it created a lot of empathy in people.
Mhm.
So, despite everyone being in a tough situation, people were kind, people were helpful. So I think that's something we learned and saw in people we otherwise wouldn't.
Mhm. Okay. So, do you want to pass any message to the upcoming entrepreneurs, and especially the women who are want to start a entrepreneurship journey? So, you want to pass any message to them?
See, there's just it's not a message because I think everybody has their own path.
Mhm.
But I think one thing is I would like to say to anybody who wants to do their own uh, startup is first think through what you are doing. be in it for the right reasons, and just go ahead and start it, because until and unless, things are never perfect, until and unless you're in the drill, and it doesn't matter what the outcome is, really doesn't matter, because even after running a business for 10 years, 12 years, the companies have not worked out. So it doesn't matter what the outcome is, but the journey of entrepreneurship is so that you will grow as an individual, and that matters. Even if the business doesn't work for you, the learning that you have as an individual is priceless. No school, no program, no workplace can ever give you uh, the learning as an individual that running a business can give you. So definitely, if somebody is planning to start, be it a man or a woman, there are no exceptions. The challenges might be difficult, but the key is to think through, and adapt the best reasons why you want to start, and just get started.
Let's start it. Yes. So thank you, Ms. Desna, for giving us your time. Thank you, viewers. If you're watching this video, please do like, share, and subscribe our channel for more videos. Thank you.
Thank you.